That's called Donna Adelson. Please come up and witness stand, Ms. Adelson. Witness stand. Please raise your right hand as best as you can. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? Yes. You may take the seat. Please speak loudly and clearly. You may examine Mr. Zalman when you're ready. Thank you, Mr. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record and make sure you speak into the microphone?
Yes, Donna Adelson.
Did you agree for your attorney-client conversation to be recorded?
No.
You were informed that you were being recorded if you accepted that call.
Yes.
Okay. And that if you do not want to be on that recorded call, that you needed to hang up the call. Is that right?
Are you saying, does the recording say?
Right. If you do not want to accept that recorded call, you should hang up.
If you do not, yeah, no, I accepted the recorded call.
Have you ever forgotten to press the button on a call before?
I mean, it may have happened. I don't know.
Sure. Has your phone pocket dialed people before?
Has it what?
Pocket dialed people before? I mean, when you've been out of custody.
Pocket dialed?
Right.
I don't know what you mean.
Like if your phone is in your pocket or in your purse and it accidentally calls someone you didn't mean it to.
I mean, it could have happened, sure.
Okay. And you also could have not pressed the button on your cell phone to end a call before, right?
It's possible.
Okay. It's not quite as big of a deal as it used to be when you would actually have to hang up the phone.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the telephone is a problem.
Okay.
Can you tell the court how many times prior to your arrest for the charges that are pending in this case have you been arrested for criminal offenses?
Never.
And how long have you been incarcerated at the Leon County Detention Facility? Do you recall?
15 and a half months, 470 days.
And
I'm not a doctor. I don't know I've gained more than a third of my body weight here. The diet is all carbs, no protein. And, when you get spaghetti with mashed potatoes, cornbread, and white bread, that's your dinner. It's very typical of what we get.
that.
And I try to get some protein. I buy tuna fish with mayonnaise and,
Substitute meals, if you will?
yes.
Okay. No noodles of any kind?
No.
Okay. All right.
And we've had no exercise at all. We're confined, especially in the annex. The annex, we've been confined to our beds almost all the time. Once in a while, we get a pod officer that lets us walk, so you can walk in a circle around the girls' beds. But otherwise, there's no, even if you want to get off your bed and just try to do stretches or wall push-ups or anything, she says, this is not an exercise room. There's no exercising here. We don't get taken outside.
Was it your understanding you're supposed to be taken outside a certain number of times?
Well, the inmate handbook says you get a minimum of 3 hours of outside time per week.
Okay. And during your time in the annex, did you experience a week where you got 3 hours of time outside?
We haven't gotten 3 hours in 6 months.
Okay. You testified previously that the nighttime medications come between 11:30 p.m. and 1:30 or 2 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And part of the nighttime medications that you get, is there something in there to assist you to go to sleep?
Yes.
Okay. And then you get the medication. About how long after that is it before you can go to sleep?
From the time I get it, probably a half hour.
Okay. All right. And what time are you woken up for breakfast?
Between 3 and 3:30.
Okay.
Last night was 3:10. Just within that half hour range is when it comes.
Okay. And once you're woken up for breakfast, are you capable of going back to sleep?
No.
Have you tried to go back to sleep?
Oh my God. Yes, I try.
So that period of that block of time that you get from the time you fall asleep after your night meds until you're woken up for breakfast, that's the only sleep that you're getting while you're incarcerated?
That's it.
How has that affected you?
So, listen, I know older people don't need as much sleep as younger people, but I need more than 2 hours a night. I need more than a good night is 3. One night I had 3.5 hours. It's not enough sleep to stay focused. I mean, I feel like I'm foggy sometimes because I'm sleepy, I'm tired, and I can't go to sleep. They've got people screaming and yelling. They bang on the doors, they shake the doors. It sounds like a drum in there. It's horrible. So I can't sleep with all that noise going on.
Okay. Are you having difficulty completing the tasks that we're asking you to do because of your lack of sleep?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
And by being in solitary confinement, does it give you an opportunity to have a quieter space where you can prepare for trial?
I guess it would be a quiet space if I could get some sleep and I would be able to concentrate on what I'm supposed to do. Yes, that would be helpful.
Do you also get in-person visits with your attorney in jail?
I do.
Okay, and when that happens, are you in a room alone with him or her or both?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And y'all are able to have conversations then that are private?
Yes.
Okay. During the time that you were in the annex, were you in a situation where you could be away from everybody so that you could make those calls without anyone hearing?
No, I had to make the calls under my blanket because you couldn't hear me. I certainly couldn't hear you. So I would go under my blanket with the tablet and I would call you that way.
That didn't keep the other inmates who were standing right next to you from hearing.
It is what it is.
Okay. Was there a time when you and I were speaking and when you pulled the cover back, there was actually a guard there listening to your call?
Yes, there was.
Okay. Are there times where we're not able to hear each other on the phone calls?
Yes.
Is there static on the phone calls?
It's static, and now you've been complaining because I have this shortness of breath. So you say I'm breathing very heavy, and it's hard to hear me.
Okay.
So it's difficult.
All right.
The pain is like hot. It's like a burning pain, and my thumb, index, and middle finger have gotten like tingling. It almost feels like ants are crawling on them. It's like a numbness of those fingers.
Okay.
But I've been there. I've done that. I know what happens with sciatica, and I know what needs to be done. That's not going to be the answer.
For your arm and shoulder pain, isn't it true that you reported you had mild pain in your left arm and
No,
shoulder?
I heard that gentleman say that before. I couldn't believe it. I told you that I had severe burning pain down the outer part of my arm. I never used the word mild pain. So I don't know where they got that from, but that's not what I said.
Okay. I'm going to show you the encounter from February 3rd, 2025 at 2:29 p.m. Under musculoskeletal, does it say positive for left upper extremity limited ROM range of motion, comma, mild pain?
That's what it says, but that's not what I said.
Okay.
In no way is that pain mild.
And so that's just what the doctor would have written down, but you're saying that's not what you told the doctor?
I did, had that been given to me and I read it and I had to sign it, I would say I never said this. But I'm telling you, I never said mild pain.
Okay.
It's shooting hot pain down my arm.
Do you have any other medical conditions that you wanted us to address in the bond hearing that you're suffering from.
So I have a hearing issue.
Okay.
I have a problem. I evidently have very narrow ear canals, and so get the wax builds up in my ears to the point that, I mean, I have officers that say to me, "Are you deaf, Adelson?" When I don't respond to them, it's because I don't hear them. And so I did ask for help in the, I asked the doctor if there was anything they could do for me, and I told her what's normally done, and she said, we use Debrox to soften the wax, and then you come down 3 or 4 days later, and we use a bulb syringe to remove it. And I said, that doesn't work. I need a different procedure. And she said, that's all we can do for you.
That you have complained of during the time that you were speaking with the doctors, and they said that they didn't give you the treatments that you were requesting. Did they ever offer that they would have a doctor from the outside perform the treatment for you?
No.
I don't have anything further.
So I was walking past the washing machine on my way to the restroom, and I bumped into the there's like a metal bracket that holds the washing machine in place, I guess, and it was my fault. I bumped into it.
And what happened?
So I cut my arm pretty badly.
So what did you do after you cut your arm?
The timing was it's kind of interesting because the med nurse was there doing morning meds. So I got onto the bleeding wouldn't stop. It was just pouring out. And so I figured I'll get on the line with the other girls and I'll speak to the med nurse. So I waited my turn and I got to the med nurse and she said, "Whoa, what happened to you?" And I said, "My fault. I just bumped into the washing machine and I cut myself." So she looked at it and she said, "Yeah, that's a problem." I said, "Yeah, can I get a Band-Aid or gauze or something, some antibiotic cream?" She said, "Yeah, I don't have any antibiotic cream and I don't have a Band-Aid." So I looked at her and I said, "Well, what should I do?" She said, "Well, why don't you use your toilet paper and put it on there?" I said, "But it's gushing. I can't put toilet paper on there." So one of the girls saw me and she said, "Oh my God." And she came running over and she opens up a sanitary napkin and she put it on there and it was filling the sanitary napkin with blood. And so another girl came over, she took the bloodied one away and she gave me hers too. And I was applying that. So I said to the nurse again, "I'm not going to be able to stop it holding this. Isn't there something you can do?" She says, "The best I could offer you would be to fill out a medical request form." So I said, "You want me to do that now?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, can I have a medical request form?" She says, "Oh, I don't have any." I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" And she said, "I don't know what to tell you." She said, "Maybe the night nurse will have that."
Okay.
I called my husband. He told me to elevate my arm, to wash it, to try to wash it frequently, just to keep my arm up. And that's what I did. And one girl brought over toilet paper, but that was sticking to the wound, so that wasn't good. So I kept borrowing sanitary pads to hold it.
Okay. And at some point, did the night nurse come?
Yes, she came that night.
Okay. And what happened when she got there?
She didn't have a Band-Aid either.
Okay.
She didn't have antibiotic ointment either. And I said, "This has been going on since early this morning."
Thank you. So the night nurse came and the night nurse didn't have a Band-Aid either.
No antibiotic, no Band-Aid, and no the form that I was told to ask her for, the sick call form. She said, "I don't have them. We haven't had them in a while."
The night nurse.
the night nurse.
So how were you supposed to request, according to the night nurse then, how were you supposed to request assistance?
So I was actually fortunate because there was a sergeant with the night nurse. She accompanies the nurse when she comes there. And she took a look at what I looked like, and the night nurse said, yeah, that's a problem. When I went down to medical a few days later, they said, how long are you wearing this bandage? And I said, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, whatever it had been. And they said, this should have been cleaned and changed every day. Why didn't you have that done? I said, I don't know. This is what they gave me to put on, and that's what I did.
Okay.
My husband said, Donna, there was if there was rust on that metal, which there was, he said, you should ask for a tetanus shot.
And so did you request
So
it?
I requested it, and they did give it to me.
Okay.
You ultimately received the Band-Aid and Neosporin for the cut on your elbow.
Yes, I got that on Saturday. When did I get that? On Monday.
Okay, so within a day or two of the cut occurring?
Yes. There's 7 shower heads, but I always take the same one because it's off in a corner, so I have a little bit more privacy than you have at the other ones. And so I would always shower there, and I was under the shower and I was washing my hair, and I was the only one in the shower. I always go in early morning because there's nobody there. Most of the girls sleep, so I take a shower and I have a little privacy. And so I was washing my hair, and all of a sudden I felt a hand go up my back, like from the top of my butt up my back, and I yelled, "Stop it!" And I turned, and this girl said, "You like it?" And I said, "Get out of here!" And I started to scream, and she ran.
Okay.
In October. So I was in the bathroom. It's 10:30 at night. I went in to brush my teeth.
Okay.
There are three sink stations in the bathroom. Each one has 4 sinks. And I was at the center station with my back to the door. And I'm a righty, so I was holding my toothbrush with my right hand. And I was balancing myself with my left hand on the sink. I was just brushing my teeth. That's all I was doing.
And what happened?
And somebody came up behind me and pulled my left hand away from the sink and twisted my arm and like jerked it behind my back, like reaching up toward my neck.
Okay.
And
Did it hurt?
yeah, it hurt.
Okay. What happened?
It hurt. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she's, in the same breath that she did that with my arm, she said, "You're going to buy me commissary." I said, "I'm going to what?" And she said, "Unless you want those pretty white teeth knocked out of your mouth, you're going to buy me commissary." So I said, okay. And then she named a package that she wanted, and she was out. She was gone. She was just that fast.
Okay. How bad would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad would you rate the pain at the time that she did that to you?
Oh my God, it was a 10.
Okay.
I didn't know my arm could reach that far back.
Okay. And what did you do after she did that to you?
So kind of stood there for a minute, and then I just thought, okay, I'm gonna go back to my bunk. And I went back to my bunk and got under the covers and I cried. I just stayed under my covers. I didn't come out.
Okay. Were you afraid of her?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was after that.
Okay, as far as the arm twist incident from October of 2024, you said you reported that in February of 2025,
Yes,
okay? And you wouldn't give the name, you said you wouldn't give the name of her to the investigator either, okay?
no,
But you do know that if you would give her name, that instead of you being separated from the pod, she could be separated from you and you could be back with the general population.
but she's not the only one that could hurt me. That's why I wouldn't do it. She had a half a dozen girls that came up to me.
Was there ever any physical violence by her or anyone she's friends with after that October
No.
24 incident?
No, that was it. That's it.
And
you said that she demanded that you were gonna start getting her weekly commissary. Did you do that?
Yes,
okay, so the incident in the shower, after you let the inmate know that you did not like what she was doing by telling her to stop, did she ever try that again?
no,
And that inmate's no longer, or you didn't disclose the name of that inmate, but you did tell the investigator that that inmate is no longer in jail with you, right?
she's no longer there. She left shortly after that.
Okay.
I wasn't afraid of being arrested.
What were you trying to get to the airport in time for? In that jail
My
cell?
husband and I were literally shocked and traumatized at what had happened to Charlie. And he said, we need to just get some peace. We need to catch our breath. We're gonna go away somewhere. And I thought it was a good idea because I couldn't think straight. I really couldn't think straight. I was so upset, and so was he. And it was his idea. He said, sweetheart, let's go, just get away. We're gonna just get away somewhere so we could have some time to think.
Okay, so your testimony is that you weren't trying to go to Vietnam because you wouldn't be able to be extradited from there.
So my husband actually had said, we've been to Vietnam before. With friends, we were on vacation, and it really was like a place of peace. And so he said, if we go to a non-extradition country, then if the law enforcement decided that they wanted to arrest you or me, whatever, both, he said, we won't be sitting in a foreign prison waiting months to go back. We could buy a ticket and we can go home. And my understanding was that I could go home and I could turn myself in if that's what they wanted.
Okay, but you were hoping to make it out of America in time before you were arrested, right?
I wanted to get away. He wanted to get away. That's what we wanted to do. And they were going.
But Dan did tell you, as you say in the jail call, that knowing what they're thinking up there, I don't know if you'll make it out in time. I really don't. But he said you might, or you might get to the airport and they'll stop you. It could happen.
That's what he said.
Right.
I've seen movies where people are stuck in like third world prisons and waiting and waiting and waiting. And my feeling was, this is not what we want to happen. If the state says they want us to come back, we'll buy a ticket, we'll come back on our own terms. We don't have to be sitting in a jail somewhere. We'll come back home and turn ourselves in.
Couldn't you have done that no matter what country you went to?
No.
No?
No.
You couldn't have found out that you had a warrant for your arrest and come back if there was an extradition
Well,
policy?
not if they would, I'm not in law enforcement, but it appears that they would notify law enforcement in that country and then they could hold you in a jail for God knows how long. And I don't want that to happen. So he said, well, that's why we'll do it this way, honey. That way if they do notify us, so we get a phone call from our attorney or from law enforcement, then we'll buy a ticket, we'll go home.
Okay,
Being held, I didn't do this.
okay.
We were trying to get our heads on straight and just breathe.